I just received a great news from my client. Nowadays, motion to continue are being denied because the Trump administration said that an asylum petition has to be adjudicated within 180 days, and you have to have exceptional circumstances type of reason in order to continue a case. So this client, first of all, we are changing strategy, okay? Because the client into the United States was detained and then released on parole, 212D5A, okay? But when we went to court for the master hearing, the judge did not agree with that parole. He sustained the charges, and we filed for interlocutory appeal, which is the appeal that you file in the middle. And the BIA dismissed the appeal because they say that the case is not ripe yet, meaning the case is still pending. So if the person is not granted asylum, then you can still come back to appeal that issue. But it was a good move, at least, to preserve the issue on appeal, because master hearing, again, is the most important hearing that you will ever attend. If you don't play your card right, you will be blocked once something happens in the future. So at least we preserve that issue on appeal, because we want to maintain that our client was in fact paroled to the United States, and she happened to be a arriving alien. And the reason we wanted to maintain that, because although the defense was asylum, we knew that our client has alternatives way to adjust status, because after all, she was going to get married. So while the judge sustained those charges, we filed for appeal. Appeal was dismissed, but the important thing here to note is that we preserve the issue for appeal in case asylum is not granted, okay? So moving on, they asked us for what is the defense. We said asylum, and then they scheduled the hearing within 6 months. But the lady in question went ahead and got married. She got married and she gave birth. So we had to postpone this case because now we want to adjust status with USCIS, because the client in question is an arriving alien who was paroled, although the judge doesn't agree with that parole. But we have the parole paper, which we can argue with it all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to, okay? But anyway, so we filed a motion to continue the case based on the fact that the girl is pregnant, she has to give birth, and the doctor said that it's a complicated pregnancy, and she happened to be admitted in the hospital as well. I filed the motion on June 11. I didn't get any response until today, June 27. I called the court, and after me calling the court, that's why you have to follow up if the deadline has passed, right? Because the court only have like 10 days for DHS to reply, but the assistant told me 15 days. But even if it was 15 days, today was the 27th, which means the 15 days was on the 26th. But anyway, that's an argument for another day. But we follow up, and the judge assistant called me later to tell me that they changed the date for next year. Two things to know about this. The reason they changed the date is because we asked for motion to continue, and we had strong evidence to continue the case. Remember, nowadays, to continue the case is not as simple as it used to be for good cause. Now you have to show, on top of good cause, extraordinary circumstances, because the defense is asylum, at least the one that the court knew about at the time of the master hearing. So the cases continue. Meanwhile, we already filed the I-130 petition after the master hearing, because the lady in question got married, and now that she has a child, the marriage in question is valid, bona fide. Remember, if the person is placed in removal proceedings and gets married after being placed in removal proceedings, there's a presumption of fraud, and you have to show by clear and convincing evidence that the marriage in question is good faith marriage. We have a child born from the marriage, clear and cut, good faith marriage, and on top of it, you have to ask for an exemption, okay? Under 245I, under 245 1C 8 3 I's and I believe F. That's the section, if I quoted correctly. Basically, that says that you have to ask for an exemption because the marriage in question is being done when the person is in removal proceeding. It's basically the petitioner who's asking USCIS to make an exemption for them because it's a good faith marriage. You really write a letter and stuff like that. So on top of proving with clear and convincing evidence, which we did in connection to filing I-130. The I-130 is pending. We are trying to expedite the I-130, which we believe it's going to be expedited because of the condition of the child in question now, because the woman in question conditions. Yeah, we're going to expedite it, and once we expedite it, then we're going to go back to court and terminate removal proceedings, because we will, at that point, we'll have I-130 already approved. And because the person is an arriving alien who was paroled, then we'll adjust status with USCIS. The court does not have jurisdiction to adjust USCIS, to adjust a petition of green card of an arriving alien, period. Whether the person was paroled or not, our argument is the court does not have jurisdiction. We're going to go to USCIS with the parole paper that we have, then we're going to make the argument. And remember, matter of Q Lee that came up lately, it's very clear on who's parole and who's not, and our client clearly is parole because she was released prior to the last hearing. Not to mention they gave her paperwork saying parole, even though they did not give it I-94, but the paperwork said parole humanitarian 212D 5A, which is what we need. So I'm already feeling like we already won. That's why it's so important. If you are in removal proceedings, it's very important to get clarity. If you already have a lawyer, it's also important to get second opinion. Then you can talk to your lawyer about it, because sometimes the lawyer might forget stuff, you know. Follow for more. Schedule a consultation if you need it. Again, remember, master hearing is the most important one. Until next time, bye-bye.